Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakarakim. And on Street Talk, we deal to political, social, and economics here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Right now, we got war going on in a lot of places. Israel, Sudan, Ukraine, just to name a few. But tonight, my guest,
Dennis Never Cuss Burnside.
Paget Maynard.
Okay, as I was saying, we got wars going on almost every place, and a lot of the people here in the U.S. don't know it, but we got a war going on right here in the U.S.
You mean metaphorically?
Yeah, we got Republicans out here itching for something, some kind of thing where they can start using the weapons and everything.
Well, I know they want to restructure government
Yeah.
in ways that take away the modern administrative government that we have with the civil servants and people who are nonpartisan, who test into positions and are hired based on expertise, objective knowledge, and empiric science. I know they're trying to get rid of that. I know they want to put in cronies who have sworn fealty to Agent Orange, and they're looking to change the way that the Supreme Court is allowed to view a president's power, giving the executive branch expansive powers beyond anything we've ever seen in the United States, making him analogous to a monarch or a king. I know that they're looking at what they call hand-me-outs, such as Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, as plums for them to pick and hand off to their Wall Street buddies. So they're looking. They're talking about day one having a roundup of what they call illegal aliens, the immigrants who come here and do the jobs that they don't want to do and that we no longer do. And they're looking to have them rounded up and put into concentration camps until such time as they can be expelled from the country once and for all, and to backfill those jobs picking tomatoes, picking asparaguses, working in avocado fields, tobacco fields, cotton fields. They're looking to replace those with Coke Classic black people.
Yeah.
As Trump said, those are black jobs that they're taking.
jobs.
Yeah.
So all of you CEOs out there, all of you VPs, nurses, doctors, lawyers, teachers, technical people, skilled laborers, just know that you pretending to be competent and working those jobs as a competent, well-trained, educated individual is not enough anymore. Those are white jobs you're taking. You're going to be pushed back into where you belong, and that's in the black jobs, which are jobs that are low-paying and require very few skills other than the ability to survive the sun all day. So we're looking at an administration, if Agent Orange gets back in there, that's going to take us, as they've said many times, they want to go back to the 50s. What happened in the 50s? Well, we don't need to go down the laundry list of how America's changed since then, but that's what they're looking to reestablish.
Yeah. And you were saying that.
Are we looking now like following under Fidel Castro's rule? Everybody had to go out and work in the fields and whatnot, regardless of your education, your profession, whatever. Because if these folks are not allowed in to work on the farms as they have been doing, and by the way, when they're doing this, they're putting food on your table. Because the Americans were not doing it.
Not only are they putting food on your table, they're putting tax money in your coffers.
Yeah.
Packed.
They're
Yes.
funding, helping to fund Social Security, which they'll never collect.
They'll
if they
never
put
get.
money in.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they have a foundational effect on the economy. When they're employed, humming along and doing well, then the economy tends to do well.
Yes.
Those jobs are needed. Ask the people that were trying to build houses in Florida back during Trump's administration when you had Ron DeSantis down there acting like a damn fool, and they stopped working on the construction projects there. Ask the tomato farmers in Georgia what it was like when you had the immigrants prevented from getting to work, and what they had with food rotting in the field. So the idea isn't well thought out on their part.
No.
But they remember the day when cats like you and me wear do-rags, get out in the field and work sun up to sundown, and we're too tired to exert ourselves for our civil rights. And they want those days back. They want their women home, barefoot and pregnant, being obedient, subservient.
Yeah.
They're looking to reestablish Beaver Cleaverville.
Yeah, and the thing about it, I was telling you yesterday when I called you, we had 4 people sitting around a table, and some far-right guy was interviewing him, and he made sure he get 4 people who
Like-minded.
who probably 3 of them would vote for Trump. That's what he called himself doing, and the thing is that he had 2 blacks, a Hispanic male, and a Vietnamese lady. And he asked the black guy who he would vote for, and the Hispanic guy who he would vote for, and the Hispanic guy said that he was talking about what the Democrats do and then what the Republicans do. Then he asked black guy. The black guy went all the way back to 2000, 2000, and trying to get a point across. And then he said the Republicans was the one who
Go ahead, man. Who what?
what is it?
Go ahead.
Who what?
But anyway, the anyway, the black guy was saying he was going to vote for Trump, and they went to the black lady, about 30, maybe 30 years old. She said she was going to vote for Trump. No.
So you're looking at 75% of the people that were on this panel, all minority,
Yeah.
who coincidentally voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Said they were going to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
All right, ask yourself, how is it possible, statistically possible, to randomly select 4 minorities in this country, and 75% of them are Trump backers? See, they're put there for a reason, man. And they're selected for a
Exactly.
reason. It doesn't reflect reality. It reflects a narrative that they want out there that says,
Exactly.
you're not the only black person who would vote for Trump. There's a whole bunch of them. Here they are. Ask them. Even if the answers are nonsense, are ahistorical, illogical, there are people out there who will vote for Trump, so you ought to too. It's the same thing we were talking about with the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation went out there and recruited young people in law schools who had a minority opinion a very, very radical opinion about the interpretation of the Constitution. And the first thing they did when they found these people is they put them up in front of the American public, and they had them do their hearings. And the very first one was Bort, I believe his name was, or Bork. And if you remember, he was very frank in his answers. He said, yeah, I'm against Roe v. Wade. I'm against the administrative state. I'm against the Congress and judicial branch having the same level of power as the chief executive. And they laughed him out of the room. Bork didn't get anywhere near confirmed. After that, you had Rehnquist. You had Scalia, may he rest in hell. You've got Amy Coney Barrett. You've got all these right-wing radicals who are far right and millions of miles from the mainstream, somehow able to get through the vetting process. And how do they do that? They go in front of the Senate confirmation committees and they lie.
Yeah.
They say, I have no intention of changing anything about Roe v. Wade. I believe in stare decisis, which means they believe in precedent.
The decision stand.
They lie and they've gotten by, and now they're implementing the plan that they were recruited for in the first place.
Yeah.
So I'm saying this in a way that should illustrate for you, you shouldn't pay much attention or focus on or be angered or discouraged by them bringing up a couple coons and Uncle Toms on the format and asking them questions so that they can say they support Trump, because it's all part of a way to try to make the minority position sound like it's the majority opinion.
Yes.
And in this case, that there are legions of black folks out here just chomping at the bit to vote for Trump, which is not the case.
Well,
even you get these ignorant ass rappers who Trump's throwing money at, Little Big Head and all these other cats coming out there caping for Trump at their rallies. First of all, those fools ain't voting. That's the first thing. Second, they never vote. Second thing, if they are eligible to vote, they will have a negligible effect on the outcome. Black women, God bless you, because you're our heroes. You're the ones who carry us. They're voting for the Democratic candidate, be that Biden or be that Harris or be that whoever steps up. And the majority of black men, particularly black men who work for a living, black men who drive trucks, black men who work in plants, black men who carry briefcases, they vote for the Democratic candidate. So again, man, looking at these off-brand, you'll never find in real life type cats that say stuff on TV, man, don't pay much attention to that.
You were saying, Patrick?
You really can't trust polls, because some people, the poll says this, the poll says, you could manipulate things to suit what you want it to say. And therefore, when somebody, oh, well, this person is so much ahead in the poll, they've had cases where a person was way up there in the polls but lost.
Well, yeah, but we look at what last week, somebody defeated the right wing party,
In France.
Yeah.
Polls,
but
as the great Cornell Belcher said, the former campaign aide for Barack Obama, who does polls for a living, he said over and over again, polls are indicative, not predictive.
Okay.
And depends on who you ask, when you ask,
Exactly.
and what you
What you
ask,
ask.
what the answer is going to be.
You
And you can use that
You
again.
could shape the question to get what you want.
Exactly. So you can manipulate polls into giving you the type of answer that you want so that you can convey it to the public at large and say this is a trend you ought to be paying attention to when it's really just propaganda. So I say the same thing I say for the vast majority of the polls that I do for these oddball coons that you see on these talk shows. Disregard them. They're not reality.
Yep.
so you were saying, Patrick, that
Go ahead.
although Biden is not like he was 4 years ago. Who is like he was, like they were 4 years ago? But
Me?
what I'm saying is that he's got to convince a lot of those people who were thinking that I don't know if he's ready to go 4 more years. He's got to every day now until time to vote. Instead of them thinking about things he's done, they're thinking about his stamina and everything. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, number one. He doesn't need to prove he can go 4 more years. What his job is right now when it comes to this election is to win the election for his party.
Right.
If he cannot work through the 4 years, he has a vice president, he could step out and the vice president takes over and you get another vice president. So that's one way to solve that. We don't have to, for example, which one of us know that we're going to make it home this evening?
Nobody knows.
We don't know. So how could you say he can't make it for the next 4 years?
I'm not saying that. They are saying.
Yeah,
I'm
whoever
just,
is saying
I
that.
disagree with you.
Okay.
I think it's important for a president to be able to say, I can serve my entire term. People don't vote for VPs. People vote for the presidential
Yeah.
candidate.
Okay.
And I think it's fundamental. I think it's incumbent upon him to demonstrate to people that he has the chops to make it another 4 years. That his health, that his cognitive function, that his stamina is sufficient to take on this job for 4 more years. Now, I'm of the opinion that a bad debate night is not evidence that he can't do those things.
Okay.
I'm also of the suspicion that Trump's people have been wrapping him in a bubble, avoiding live press conferences, avoiding live speeches, avoiding live appearances for reasons that they weren't willing to give an explanation for. And my suspicion is that he's having a lot more of these, let's call them senior moments, than what they are willing to let on for that he had at the debate last week. And if that's the case, as a voter, whose number one objective, as far as I'm concerned, is to make sure that the overtly corrupt and traitorous and convicted felon and adjudicated rapist, Donald Trump, is not reelected president. And I don't give a damn if it's Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the president of California, the president
Governor.
of Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, the governor Gavin Newsom of California, Shapiro out of Pennsylvania, Whitmer out of Michigan, or Kamala Harris as VP. I don't care. I want one of them to step up, if in the absence that Biden can't or won't run, and win this election. So it comes down to me. It's not whether or not he can be elected and then hand it off in the event that he can't serve the 4 years, because he won't be elected unless he has enough in the tank to convince people he's good for another 4 years. If he fails to do that, I think I was telling you either today or yesterday prior to the show that if he has one more slip up, if he gets on stage at any event in any circumstance and loses his train of thought and is not unable to answer a basic question or loses where he is tracking the conversation or where he was in the sentence, he's through.
Yeah.
Now just today, he called in live on MSNBC's news show Morning Joe today, and he gave a very engaged and I would call it loud interview where he was vociferous in his defense of his ability to run. But that isn't enough. You got to do that again and again and again. And Padgett, if he can't prove he could do it for 4 years, then we might as well look for the one who would step in after he decides to retire after 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it is, and just vote for them in the first place as a 4-year candidate.
That's.
I was going to ask you if you heard Morning Joe this morning, but yes, he was on there for quite a while. And he contends that he's able.
Sure he does. And that's why I'm like Missouri. I'm not saying I want him to drop out of the race, but I'm saying between now and the convention, particularly this next week or so,
Yeah.
he's got to show me he's capable.
He's gonna be out there.
Yeah, but
He's
being out.
scheduled to be out
Yeah,
there.
but just being out there.
But see, like
No,
last
I
week,
mean, he's gonna go out, so
were
that
you
you'll know
impressed?
if
Were
he
you
did it.
impressed by that interview we had with Stephanopoulos Friday?
I wasn't.
I didn't hear thing, but a little piece with
Because you know that was recorded.
yeah,
It was edited.
recorded early.
Yeah, and then he gave a speech with a teleprompter. I think it was the day before. Maybe it was in Milwaukee. I forget now.
Milwaukee.
And he sounded very energetic and very articulate. But a teleprompter and a recorded interview is not evidence of your cognitive comings and goings. And apparently he's having them. To the extent we don't know because he's been in this bubble wrap. That's why I say in the next 7 to 10 days, we're going to see, because like you said, he's going to be out there a little bit more. And then between that and the convention, he's got to convince me. Because right now I'm 50-50. I just want somebody who can step up there and beat Trump.
Yeah.
If you jump out of here
Me?
and you run, yeah,
I
you.
can't.
If you jump up and run a lap around the building, come in here and do 50 push-ups, I'm going to say, Patrick, you run. You know, I just want somebody who can beat
I
them.
get
Yeah.
where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is the fact that he out there from the night of the so-called debate, the Democrats, several Democrats were spouting out he should go.
Yeah,
Well,
Now,
it's fair enough.
okay, that's their right to make their choice. But you don't go around airing your dirty lodging in public.
Yes, you do.
well, you.
No, man, you keep, listen, you ain't know nothing about sleeping
Yeah,
in
yeah,
lodging.
yeah, but yeah.
I could tell you some of those
Yeah,
old
but-
days things.
Yeah, but Pat,
know?
I mean, if nobody said anything, just let him go on. I mean, it's like, see,
No, I'm not saying don't say anything. Look at it this way, Ahmad. We get along, the three of us. You and I together, what, almost 30 years.
yeah.
If I make a mess of myself in whatever way, shouldn't you come to me and say, man, Paget, I noticed such. How? Rather than get out there, oh man,
Yeah,
you told
yeah,
me
but-
Paget did this, he messed up.
Yeah, but they was only expressing what they feel, man.
They were expressing what they feel, but they should have gone to the man and talk it to him rather than air it in public. All they did now is set up the opposition to see there's confusion, and to the extent that the opposition is seeing confusion, they are going to capitalize on that, and it is only bringing more stress on the man
But more.
instead of helping him.
How many people you think watch that interview? I'm watching not the interview,
This,
but
the
debate.
the debate. I don't know how many.
Okay. So
Millions and
so we don't count what they think and what they look and what they see and what they feel.
Okay, if you don't put it that way, well, don't we count what the voters did in the primary? Are you going to just throw the man aside and all these people voted for him? What are you going to say to them?
But the
We didn't
Democratic
care?
Party, unlike the GPO, the GOP rather, is not a party of sycophants. They're not a party that takes marching orders. They don't get their daily instructions and go out there and use the talking points of the day. You've got people who are further to the left. You've got people to the far left. You've got people who are center left, center right, to the right in the Democratic Party. You've got a true coalition, and you've got opinions that are disparate, so you have to work together to create a coalition to agree on a platform or a certain direction.
Right.
As you're cooking that meal, you're going to have opinions that are not in lockstep with the leader. And I think if anyone, like some of the senators and congresspeople that we had, spoke out and said that Biden should step aside, if any of them are serious about that, as I think they are, they would lose their leverage if they didn't say it publicly. If their objective is to see Joe Biden go off into the sunset with a parade and claps on the back and attaboys, and you were one of the most impactful presidents in history, certainly since the FDR era. If they want to say that to him on the way out of the door, they're not going to get that accomplished by saying it privately, because then they lose their leverage. You got to come out and say publicly, hey, player, It's time to sit down, man.
Yeah.
And then if he does, if he
man.
sits down, then we have a new process. If he doesn't, then we have a fight at the convention, and we go forward with him. But I don't see how censorship solves this problem, man. You got to have it out there. You got to talk. This ain't a private decision. We're talking about the president of the United States. We're not talking about somebody who's going to be the VP of the economics department somewhere.
What impact is this having on the man, Joe? What impact is it having
He's a big
on
boy.
the other supporters of the party?
Well,
Well,
we do know this. And to your earlier points, polls are to be taken with a grain of salt. But we do know that all this sturm and drang within the Democratic Party about what's going to happen hasn't had one positive effect on Trump's side at all. His numbers are his numbers, and that's because he's got the Trump fanzines, he's got the MAGA crowd, and they're locked in.
Yeah.
The people in the middle, who I still don't know who these people really are, but those ubiquitous undecided voters every year who sometimes vote Democratic, sometimes they vote Republican, they're the ones who are going to decide this vote. And right now, they haven't gone over to Trump. You haven't seen him increase in his support.
No.
He's got the same number. Biden has seen some people drop off. So what that's telling us is that there are a lot of people out there who say, I ain't vote for Trump.
voting.
But I don't see Biden as being viable for the next 4 years either. I would prefer another option.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the decision has to be made. Are we going to go with a new horse, or are we going to switch in the middle of the stream? And right now, I kind of got my legs on two different horses, man, because I can see the argument both ways. I really can.
I definitely can. And to me, like I said earlier, a lot of people, millions, going to be watching to see how Biden do from now until time to vote, instead of talking about the things he's done. You see,
Personally,
talk about all the things,
All
that
the accomplishments
yeah,
he said, and
yeah.
how impactful of an
Yeah.
administration he's
But
had.
it's going to be a bunch of them just watching now to see how he reacts and the different different conferences and all these.
Which is
different-
fair.
Yeah.
Which is very fair.
What are you saying, Patrick?
personally, I think if Biden is forced to leave, it's going to have a negative impact on America and on the Democratic Party to win the elections.
How?
That's my take. I could see Trump walking away with the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. And American Democratic Party will have itself to blame.
Well, but how you figure that all that because Biden is not going to be the president or not running for the president.
I'm seeing it because of the confusion
No,
it's going to be bringing.
No confusion.
Even if you go to the convention, by the way, before I forget, where is the convention this year?
Chicago.
Chicago. 56 years ago, it was Chicago. What happened then?
Well,
Are we having a repeat? Are we preparing for a repeat of Chicago?
I don't think so.
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.